Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with the SG Daily. The evening race today. We are running a pedestal seed, so we're going to see these runners grab the 3 pedestals and then pull the pedestal, and that's their winning condition. My name is Windfox. I am here tonight with Jeff. How you doing, sir?
I am doing wonderful, Wood Fox. How are you doing this fine evening?
I am doing great. Had a great day. Here to watch these amazing runners. We have 4 great runners for you tonight. We are running with, in the top left, you see Joe Fuzz. The top right, we have Slumberjack. Bottom left, we have Tabby Cat 54, and bottom right, we have DJ Darkwing D.
Good luck to all of these players, and we should be getting underway here in just a moment. This is going to be a fairly exciting seed, and I see that we are off.
Alright, looks like we got looks like everyone's starting in Link's house, it looks like. Just a green rupee there in Link's house. Looks like we're getting a pretty typical Uncle start. Looks like we have Tower of Hera with the 5-6, and then Desert and Eastern with the standard Crystal.
Indeed, and everybody is going straight to the Uncle checks here. So we'll get our first look at the tree pull, and it is a full magic refill.
It's going to be a great start with that full magic refill as the tier 1 tree pull. If we get a magic item here earlier, then we may see them do the full front of escape here.
Uncle just giving up an allowance of red rupees there. Sanctuary with just a blue booby, and the chest in the other Uncle check is a set of 50.
So it looks like Joe Fuzz actually talked to the uncle and skipped the that uncle chest there and went straight to the sanctuary. Hopefully he remembers to go back and check that chest. We know that it isn't anything important, but that's going to sit in the back of his mind that he may have missed an important item.
Especially if he gets in a no-go mode and realizes he's forgetting something and goes to do those last-minute checks.
Looks like we have the runners going up to the Lost Woods area. Looks like we're going to have hopefully a couple lumberjack checks here, and we have a glove in the Lost Woods.
Yes, the power glove in the Lost Woods in the mushroom spot, and then we're going to get to see the drop down. While it looks like Slumberjack is going to give us a look at what's on the ledge.
And that tier 1 crab is bombed, so they will have access to those bombable sections in Kakariko Village.
Looks like we got a full piece of love in Lumberjack Ledge, and it looked like a piece of love in the drop down in the Lost Woods.
Alright, just find out our tracker tonight while these runners make their way into Kakariko Village is Cataclysm. Is going to be tracking the bottom 2 runners. Myself will be tracking the top half runners. So if I'm a little slow to respond, because I'm probably doing tracking responsibilities. But we do have this full race ready to go for your crew tonight.
And in the first part of Blind's Hut, we did get I do believe it was the boots and the blue boomerang.
Yeah,
Since Joe Fuzz did not have no bombs, we did not get a look at what was in the back half of that hut.
Yeah, Joe Fuzz not checking those, not getting the bush crab to get those bombs. It's going to really slow down his Kakariko start.
However, he did just get bombs, and he picked up the Titan's Mitt in the well.
Alright, well that's a good, definitely saved him there, get that bomb there in the back of Kakariko well. And we get the hook shot in Kakariko well as well. That is going to be a really fast start for these players.
And we get our first bow in the back half of Blind's hut, and in the back half of the well was a mail upgrade. And Joe Fuzz picking up his second bottle off of the bottle vendor. How vanilla.
Yeah, we see Joe Fuzz now heading back to get that bow in the back of Blind's hut here. wasting a tiny bit of time having to go back in there, not checking those bombs early. It's going to cost him a little bit of time.
Yeah, but I feel that he'll be able to make that up fairly quickly because we're pretty much set right now as far as synchronization, though I do imagine we'll get some sort of divergence here pretty soon.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Two of our runners, Joe Fuzz and Slumberjack, giving us a look inside the chicken hut. Have that info for you. And it is our first sword. So we get a fighter sword out of the chicken hut.
Alright, so this Kakariko village is starting to turn into what we call a Stackariko. Getting a lot of great items here. Both gloves and Lost Woods and Kakariko boots, sword, blue mail, and bow.
And since we have bottles, we will get that sick kid out of the way, and he only will be providing a little bit of pocket change. And the back half of the tavern will give us a piece of love, so just a little bit of safety there. Slumberjack heading down to the south end of Kakariko to check what's on the library. And I'm sure we'll see the race gate here in just a moment.
Alright, and just a small shield there on the library. I don't think any of our players are going to be picking that up today.
No, I don't think they'll be wasting our time. And on the race game is a full heart container. Most players will probably elect to skip that as well.
Yeah, some players, they either decide to do the race game blind, or they'll just go and check it like, looks like every single one of our players did. Depending on the mode, I will decide to either just blind check it myself or just check, just like everyone else did. Depends on the mode that I'm playing, though.
Typically, I would just go ahead and do a blind check just in case. Slumberjack here doing a South Shore check, and it looks like we get one of our medallions in the dam, and Slumberjack's going to be pulling that lever to see what's on the outside, and that medallion would be the Quake medallion. I did miss what was in Bonk Rocks, but I think it might have been I forgot where they got the hook shot from. I did not see that.
The hookshot was there in Kakariko Well on the far right chest, but we do have a little bit of divergence here with Joe Fuzz going up to Eastern Palace and Sahasrah's hut.
Slumberjack up in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Slumberjack utilizing that Quake to take care of these mini Moldorms here in Mini Moldorm Cave fairly easily, so they're not moving around the random patterns they do. And we find the flute in Sahasrah's closet. We got our second movement item to get her on the map incredibly fast.
And Slumberjack picking up Master Sword level and the Moon Pearl.
That is our Dark World access. Now, is Slumberjack going to go right to Dark World? Looks like he is. He's going to decide to probably go in through the Village of Outcast side.
Meanwhile, Tabby Cat, she just did back of a escape. I imagine she does have that key, so she will probably be maybe doing a blind dart cross here.
Yeah, the dark rooms are definitely something a lot of players like to learn, especially if they don't have the lamp or the fire rod to go through these rooms. It is considered in logic with either of those fire sources. Most players you'll see early just do them in the dark if they have a way to track their movement with the sword, hookshot, or boomerang. But it is fairly common to see them do them in the dark.
Meanwhile, Joe Fuzz, he is dipping into the Eastern Palace. Nothing much of use in that cannonball room. So we'll see how he progresses here as Tabby Cat continues to work her way through Dark Cross in the dark, literally.
Alright, Slumberjack check and Bonkrox. It is a full heart container. We finally get to see that. Full hearts are very useful, especially in the early game. Let's survive a little bit easier, especially with Slumberjack heading into the Dark World here in the next couple minutes.
Joe Fuzz picking up that big key in the right side of Eastern, so he will be able to get that big chest on his way to the dark rooms of Eastern.
Alright, and we see DJ Darkwing D heading into Mini Moldorm Cave as well, using the hookshot to kill these Mini Moldorms. It does one-shot them, which is really nice. And he will be getting his Moon Pearl and Master Sword here in just a second.
We have a
Alright.
5/6 crystal on Thieves Town, and the red pendant is on Meyer. And I do believe the rest of the dungeons in the Dark World are just straight crystals. We get
Alright.
a race game from Slumberjack and picking up the red rang.
Alright, so we now know what all the items we're going to need to finish this seed off. We're going to need, obviously, the bow, the hammer, Flipper's mirror. Wow, we're pretty much going to need pretty much the whole gambit of items to finish this seed off, unfortunately. Minus the fire rod and ice rod. But we're pretty much going to need every item in the game, so for a pedestal seed, we may be in for the long one, guys.
You know, this one might end up being in the category of what we call oops all dungeons, but probably not.
You know, for pedestal seed, we definitely hope we don't get that oops all dungeons, because, you know, we like to see the sub 1 hour in this mode. Nice and quick and easy.
Arrow of Destiny and the Bombable Hut and the Village of Outcasts and the Old Man on Death Mountain just providing a piece of love.
Alright, we see DJ Darkwing actually heading into the Skull Woods area. Another crystal dungeon. Hopefully he's probably just going to check the back chest here and then probably the front 4. Hopefully just get a single progression item to work his way towards those pendant dungeons.
Exactly, and Slumberjack dipping into Thieves Town to do the first 4 checks, as that is one of our 5/6 crystals, most likely just dipping in to check the first 4.
Yeah, most players, they will route in just the first 4 of Thieves Town if it's not necessarily a required dungeon. And they'll count between 1 and 4 items on how many they get in the front 4 and whether they continue to the back to go kill blind or if they just leave the dungeon and kind of say whatever the dungeon and hope what they need isn't in the back half.
Right, and Tabby Cat, she picked up the Ether Medallion inside Spec Rock.
Alright, well that's 2 medallions down. We definitely need Meyer, so hopefully one of those 2 is all we need. But having the Flute and the Titansmiths and the Moon Pearl, I'm honestly a little surprised we haven't checked the Meyer area to see what our medallion requirement is, as well as checking the Meyer shed.
And it looks like with Slumberjack picking up the big key to Thieves Town, he will be going straight to that chest. And I don't know if he's looking to full clear this or not.
Yeah,
And
we only found 1 item in the front half, so there's still 3 items in the back half. So in a way, it kind of makes sense to do the back half to go kill blind, but at the same time, this could also be a very risky play with it not being required.
And Tabby Cat inside Paradox Cave picking up, I think, a piece of love and the Cane of Samaria.
Required Camp Samaria for Misery Meyer. That is going to be very, very huge. Darkwing D not finding really much in the way of Skull Woods over there.
So far in the next part of Paradox Cave, we get a little bit of love, a full piece of love, and some arrows and a rupee. So not much really in Paradox Cave. And we did see Darkwing earlier do a bomb jump for that big chest at Skull Woods, but I missed what was inside it.
I'm going to say a Tempered Sword or somewhere there in the front 4 is Tempered Sword because our tracker's showing a Tempered Sword for Darkwing. So that's actually going to be really good, especially for those late game dungeons to kill those bosses much faster, especially Vitreous.
Exactly. It's always nice to be cooking with that bacon. And
Exactly.
Joe Fuzz is actually doing a play for the front half of Escape, making his way down to Zelda's cell.
Yeah, 3 new checks we haven't seen. I didn't see what was in the map chest there. Doesn't look like very much. We're going to get the Boomerang chest here as well as Zelda's cell. Still missing that Moon Pearl. Joe needs to work his way down to the South Shore into the mini Moldarm Cave to get that Moon Pearl.
Exactly. A Tabby Cat doing Spiral Cave, so we'll get a look and see what's in there. Meanwhile, Slumberjack making his way through Thieves Town, and it's just a set of 300 rupees for Tabby Cat. That puts her well into play for checking Zora and possibly dipping into Pod later with that Extortionist.
We'll definitely be seeing Kiki the Extortionist this seed is we do have to finish pod. And we see Jofa is killing the ball and chain guard. See what's in Zelda's cell, while Slumberjack is taking on Blind into phase 3.
Not bad on the execution of taking out Blind with only 5 hearts, but he did do a full clear.
Very, very clean fight there. Just the compass, which means there is an item there in the big chest in Thieves Town, but no hammer to get that item.
Darkwing making his play for the first 4 of the Thieves Town. And it looks like Tabby Cat is in, I want to say Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, in Super Bunny Cave, possibly just checking the Turtle Rock requirement. I don't know why we don't have the mirror to do the Super Bunny glitch. Maybe just in case.
Meanwhile, Slumberjack going straight to the shovel game south of the village of Outcasts, so we'll see what's down there.
Looks like Tabby Cat did actually activate that Super Bunny glitch there in Super Bunny Cave without the mirror. Glitch I am actually unsure of. I'll figure look at that one later.
Another 300 rupee from the shovel game, so more monetary gain there, which will help with Zora later if they decide to route that in. Most likely they'll wait until they get around to Catfish to route those in together.
Exactly, and Jofa is finally heading to Mini Molon Cave. He's going to get his Moon Pearl and Master Sword.
And our friend Stumpy is only offering up a quiver of 10 arrows.
Alright, DJ Darkwing does take the Death Warp at the front end of Thieves Town, will not go to the back half, finding only one item, deciding to take the gamble to not head to the back. We know this back there is the Tempered Sword, but don't really necessarily need the Tempered Sword in this seed.
Joe Fuzz did make his way down to Moldorm Cave just a few seconds ago. It did pick up that ever so lovely Moon Pearl as Slumberjack goes into what I call the not-so-hype cave.
Yeah, the last couple versions of this game, it hasn't been very hype. Version 27 is when it was actually really good.
All we get is 2 pieces of heart and a full heart container and some rupees. So I rate that a 3 on my not-so-hype scale. My friend Professor Pixie rates that as a 2. Slumberjack taking a dip into the back half of Escape. Well, it looks like Joe Fuzz did acquire the flute, which I did not see where he got it from. He's in Kakariko activating that right now.
Alright, we're running out of checks pretty quick. We're still missing some progression here to kind of progress in the eastern part of Dark World to get over into that pod area.
We are still looking for the hammer for that.
I mean, I'm not going to jinx these players, but if there's that chance we find that lamp, we may have to kill Aghanim to get over to that pod area. That is still an available option. For the runners, we don't hope for that, but as viewers on Twitch, we want to see all the trolls.
Yes, we do. So we could run into a potential Agaseed for logical progression into the Dark World, and if that does happen, that'll give us our first look at what's on the pyramid.
Alright, and Tabby Cat, she's making her way into Mini Molon Cave to get that Moon Pearl and Master Sword to get that Dark World access. DJ Darkwing into the front of Escape. It was just the vanilla map in the front of Escape, the chest we missed earlier.
Ah, okay.
As McMonkey saying in chat, they could kern jump to get over to that pod area. That is definitely an option to kind of skip that Aga progression. We see Tabby Cat going into Ice Rod Cave. This is a brand new check for us.
And it's nothing but a set of red rupees. So it wasn't a lot of help there. She will be moving on elsewhere.
I have a feeling we may see Tabby Cat looks like she's gonna be heading down to do some fake flipper checks and doing those water checks is gonna be my guess with the way she's setting this up with the sword. So
And
we
you were
move.
spot on that. She did that and got it on the second try. Meanwhile, Slumberjack in Zelda Cell picking up his red cape. And Darkwing is right behind him.
Alright, Slumberjack is heading over to Sahasrahla and maybe into Eastern Palace to get those checks done. But we have Tabby Cat doing out of logic flipper checks.
And we get a red mail upgrade and the Book of Mador. And in the back of Sashrala's closet is where the flute was, which I missed earlier. So that is where our flute is. And Tabby Cat now looks like she's going to route in Zora and only bombs on the ledge. So we'll see how expensive Zora is and how useful that item will be.
So we're pretty much out of checks at this point. No one has done the back of Eastern Palace yet, so there may be a couple items back there. So I'm going to say our progression is going to be somewhere in Eastern or here on Zora at this point.
And Zora is offering up a very expensive piece of love with just a heart piece. And Joe Fuzz, meanwhile, is making his way to the bombable room in Thieves Town. And Slumberjack is in Eastern.
So as horrible as this sounds, Thieves Town is a 5/6 crystal as well as Hera. If we find that mirror, we may be looking at a possible Pyramid Fairy at some point, just to even get progression to get into Pod or even Swamp Palace.
I missed what was on Lake Hylia Island, but Tabby Cat is going straight to the hobo, so we'll see what the homeless guy's got for store for us today.
Alright, our tracker saying
And Tabby Cat pulls the magic mirror from the hobo, so that all valuable item is on the homeless guy.
Alright, so that mirror does open up K45. It does open up Tower of Hera now, which is our other 5/6 crystal, which I just mentioned is possible for needing to get to Pyramid Fairy to finish up, to maybe even get into Aga.
And with us also having the Titan's Mitt, it will open up. Do we have Titan's Mitt yet?
We do have Titan's Mitts, yes.
It will also, that mirror does also open up alongside K45, Checkerboard Cave, the Bombos tab, and alongside the Tower of Hera across the bridge, the Ether tab.
Yeah, so that mirror definitely opened up quite a bit for Tabby Cat here. It's only a matter of time before all these runners find that mirror. But that is a flipper locked mirror. We need to remember that that she is locked behind the flippers for that mirror.
Yes, is an out of logic mirror gain for her, so that will provide her a little bit of an edge until the other players pick that up.
And we see Joe Fuzz starting up the blind fight. Slightly off script, but looking really good. Hasn't taken any damage yet on the fight. As I commentator curse that. Does finish off really, really cleanly. Does get the blind kill.
And Slumberjack actually coming up and activating his flute, so he will have a little bit easier way of traversing the light world.
At the exact same time, Tabby Cat activating her flute as well. This is the option where I have a feeling one of these runners, we're going to see the Mire area next, I hope. Because we still haven't seen it. We don't know what checks are over there. We haven't seen Mire Show. We don't know the medallion yet. And these players have had access to it for a little while now.
Exactly. And as far as access to Misery Mire, both Tabby Cat and Darkwing have 2/3 of the possible requirements to get into either Turtle Rock or Misery Mire.
Alright, that being said, Tabby Cat did fly over to the desert area, did check the desert ledge. It was just a couple bombs. Looks like flew to the wrong location, meant to go back to 6, went to 7 instead. So we will be getting this Mire check to see what our required medallion is, as well as the checkerboard cave, as well as Mire Shed. So it's likely we're going to see progression in one of these next 3 checks here.
Ether medallion required for Misery Mire as she's trying to get into the closet now.
So Meyer is beatable.
And the
We just
Bombos
don't
tab,
have.
and sorry about that, but we get the Bombos medallion and a red rupee out of the Meyer closet, which means Tabby Cat now has all 3 medallions. So entrance into Turtle Rock will not be an issue if she decides to go that route.
Exactly. I was saying Misery Mire is beatable now. We don't have the lamp, but that's okay. We can still do the dark room. The Dark Mire room. It is a little bit rough, but definitely beatable.
And on Darkwing's side, we did get a look at the floating island. It was just a piece of heart.
All right. So the next question is Tabby going to go into Mire, or is she going to head into Desert and do some desert checks?
I
Looks like
believe
she's
she
going
is
into
going
Mire
straight
play.
into Mire. So she might be doing a Mire Desert combo. I expect her to mirror right into Desert as soon as she comes back out of Mire. Meanwhile, Darkwing is going into Dark Death Mountain, so we might get our check for Turtle Rock requirement.
Alright, well I just realized we're 25 minutes in and we are Flippers and Hammer from Go Mode. So we
Wow,
are 2 items from Go Mode 25 minutes into this race.
that is pretty quick for Go Mode.
Well, these pedestal seeds, they tend to go pretty quick. Unless you get Turtle Rock involved in the mix, then it can get really, really bad really fast.
Well, basically, now that we know what our Go Mode items are, it's just a matter of finding them. Meanwhile, Darkwing does his Super Bunny checks, and Slumberjack also going up to the Mire area, so...
And there's the hammer on the bridge chest there in Misery Mire. 1 item from Go Mode for Tabby Cat. That is a huge find. That does open up Palace of Darkness now. We are just Flippers from Go Mode before we finish this seed.
Yes, we are. 26 minutes in, and Tabby Cat is in no-go mode for the Flippers, while Darkwing is taking a look at what's in Hookshot Cave. And he picks up the shovel and the magic mushroom, so we get a fetch quest there. Not much else to be gained out of there.
Alright, so 2 fetch quests in Hookshot Cave. So for logic's sake, we know that the Flippers cannot be in Palace of Darkness because we are locked behind the Flippers to get into Misery Mire at this time. So we know we can't have Flippers in there.
And Slumberjack looks like he's going to be making a play up Death Mountain, possibly dipping into the Tower of Hera. But before that, he's going to dip into Spec Rock and get that last medallion that he needs. Oh, no, he's going to abandon that medallion. That's a weird play.
That is a very risky call. Slumberjack actually can't get into Tower of Hera. He's missing the mirror still. He hasn't done those flipper checks yet. But once we find the flippers, I'm sure he will go and get that mirror off of the hobo.
And I did see Slumberjack did actually decide to go back into Spec Rock to pick up that medallion, which was a smart move there because it is required to get into Mire.
And Tabby Cat taking a death in Misery Mire, deciding whether she wants to go back in and continue or go somewhere else. Looks like she's going to decide to go back in and give it another shot. The downside to Tabby Cat right now is not having the Fire Otter lamp, so we can't do the left side of Misery Mire. So we may be locked out of this dungeon pretty quick if the big key's on the left side.
And we definitely do have a little bit of divergence between the players. Joe Fuzz and Slumberjack are both up on Death Mountain doing their paradox checks, while Darkwing and Tabby Cat have dipped into Mire.
Velody, our other tracker who jumped in to replace me tracking the emergency tracker, corrected me saying that the big key was in lobby chest, so we can complete this dungeon now. But only having the Master Sword for Tabby Cat's going to make it a little rough to kill Vitreous, especially only 7 hearts.
I've seen stranger things happen. I've seen blind on free hearts, so it could happen.
That's definitely true. Alright, we have Joe Fuzz and Slumberjack doing the bomb jump across Paradox there at the exact same time. Both runners do get that bomb jump to go up and probably check Spiral Cave.
And Tabby Cat going straight to the back half of Meyer, so it does look like she is ready to full clear this dungeon.
Alright, we're going to see Darkmire. Probably, arguably, it's usually up there with Aga's Tower is the two hardest dark rooms to navigate in the game. Both are incredibly hard to do.
That they are. So if she does manage to pull this off, this will be out of logic for her sake because she does not have a fire source, and she is also out of logic for the magic mirror as logic is hiding behind the flippers, which will be her go mode.
And does throw the block from the south end of that room, does get it. We are into the next section of these dark rooms. It's fairly simple from here to navigate the rest of these dark rooms. Nowhere near as bad as the block room there.
And Darkwing also has his magic hammer. I did miss where that was. I did not get a chance to see where the hammer was located.
The hammer was on the bridge chest here in Misery Mire there at the very front of the dungeon.
Ah, thank you. Thank you very much.
As Drosy points out in chat, he thinks I know Darkmire. I do know Darkmire.
And Darkwing is also going to be doing the dark rooms of Meyer as well. So he is now out of logic.
Alright, we see Tabby Cat placing the bomb there in that last dark room to get up into the northern area to flip the switch to get to the last part of the dungeon to go kill Vitreous.
And both Joe Fuzz and Slumberjack are now in Hookshot Cave, so they will both be picking up their shovel almost instantaneously together. And the magic mushroom, as Joe Fuzz is just merely frames behind Slumberjack. Meanwhile, Darkwing is just merely frames behind Tabby Cat, so this is a neck-and-neck race between all four competitors.
Yeah, all four runners, each of them in different, two of them in one spot, two of them in another spot. Tabby Cat down to one hard approaching Vitreous. This is going to be a very rough fight. Does have that red potion, is going to drink it before entering this fight.
That will make it a little bit easier, but still, at Master Sword level, this fight is going to be a bit difficult. Darkwing, if he manages to make it, will have a better fight having that bacon sword.
Yeah, the sword advantage on this fight does mean a lot. Be able to kill the eyes much faster than Tabby Cat will be able to. Tabby Cat going with bomb strats here to weaken him up a little bit, and then probably switch over to the bow to finish him off.
And meanwhile, Slumberjack cashing in the magic mushroom, picking up the ice rod.
Oh no, that's not an item you wanted to see right here.
So basically, the witch is just selling frozen drugs at this point. Slumberjack also using the shovel in the grove, which gives us a piece of heart. Not going to bother to pick that up. He's fluting away.
Alright, so both of our fetch quests not giving us much of anything. We have one fetch quest left in the powder if we find it. I'm honestly, I don't know if Slumberjack knows about the fake powder glitch with the King of Samaria. Could have done that first before going and turning in the mushroom to see what was on the powder spot.
And technically speaking, we actually have yet another fetch quest-esque item check that we can do once we get the green pendant, turning it into Sashrala.
And Tabby Cat finishes off Vitreous very well with the bomb and arrow strike. Does get that first pendant of these four runners. Gets that red pendant. It's one dungeon down, 2 to go. Can go and do pod now. We more than likely will not find the flippers in there.
And Slumberjack went straight to Desert. I think he will be able to get into the right side. Yes, he will be able to. So, and as expected, Tabby Cat does pull the Misery of Mire and Desert Palace combo as she mirrored right into there as soon as she exited Mire.
So we can do all of this dungeon except for Land Molus there at the end. We do not have a fire source to access the back of the dungeon yet. But if we do get both items here in the front half, we don't have to worry about going to Land Molus at all.
And Joe Fuzz picking up his medallion. That means all 4 runners of our restream tonight now have the medallions, which means entrances to Mire and Turtle Rock are not a problem at this point.
And Jofa's attempting the Spectre Rock jump to get back across. Was off by what looked to be 1, maybe 2 pixels to get that bomb jump. To get back across without having to make the climb again.
Not much luck for Slumberjack going for that big chest. All it had was the dungeon map.
Alright, so there is one item on Land Molus, and we can't get to it right now.
It is lamp locked. It is a fire source because you do have to light those torches to get into that boss room.
And we see DJ Darkwing taking on Vitreous, standing in the corner doing pretty much spamming the sword there with the tempered sword. Makes the fight much easier to get through and a lot easier to handle. We'll be finishing off Vitreous here very, very soon, getting his first medallion of this, or first pendant, I should say, of this race.
And as expected, Tabby Cat did dip out of Desert Palace, realizing that she doesn't have a fire source to get into the dungeon boss area. So she dips into the Dark Road, and we'll see where her routing takes us from there.
And Jofa's turning in that mushroom, seeing it's the ice rod. Probably not very happy to see that right now.
And Joe Fuzz realizing he don't have any empty bottles as he was trying to fill one up with a potion, so he's going to dip out, probably release a bee, and then try to refill.
Alright, looks like Tabby Cat this is her first trip to the Village of Outcasts. Does get that red boomerang from the chest game.
And since Joe Fuzz didn't have... Well, he decided not to empty a bottle to refill it with another potion. He is going straight to the Ice Rod Cave area, which we know is not much help. Meanwhile, Slumberjack is dipping Skull Woods.
Yeah, we still don't have access to the back half. We know the first 5 checks aren't going to give them much of anything of value. We're running out of checks. I want to assume our next big progression has to be in Palace of Darkness. We don't have much left with getting that hammer there in Misery Mire. So I have a feeling we're going to be going there. DJ Darkwing is heading to Pod right now.
Meanwhile, Tabby Cat is dipping into Thieves Town. She's going to do the first 4 there, most likely, just to knock those out. Though the other runners had done the full clear, so we'll wait to see what happens there. Joe Fuzz making his play to Agina. We'll see what the old man in the desert has.
If I remember correctly, there wasn't much here in Agina's cave. I want to say Tabby Cat did check this earlier, as well as DJ Darkwing. We didn't find much in here.
And you would be correct. There wasn't much there. It's just a piece of love.
Okay. Alright, as we see DJ Darkwing finally entering Palace of Darkness.
And that first check gives us one of the small keys.
Alright, so it is not bow locked, not like it doesn't really matter. We do have the bow to get to the right side to kill those mimics. But we also know DJ Darkwing does have a couple potions if he decides to potion glitch to get past that without using the bow. I don't see that happening. He's probably just going to go right up the middle and check the back of the dungeon here. Alright, we see Tabby Cat only getting 1 item in the first 4 of Thieves Town. It is going to go to the back. Does have that hammer. So we may see that big chest there from Thieves Town here.
Indeed, and meanwhile, Joe Fuzz making his dip into Misery Mire, while Darkwing pulls up another small key and the big key, so he will be able to get that big chest when he gets to it.
Alright, and Joe Fuzz will be getting his hammer here probably in the next minute or two when he makes his way to that bridge chest.
Now, I know this is something that the runners are not particularly looking forward to seeing, but it is a slight possibility that our progression could be in GT, a very slim chance.
Cannot be in GT. The reason why it cannot be in GT is because Ice Palace is a crystal, and the flippers are logically required to get into Ice Palace, which is why we won't see and there's the flippers there in Palace of Darkness. DJ Darkwing is in go mode on the ledge chest there next to the bridge.
All right, and he does so at the 39-minute, 33-second mark. Meanwhile, Slumberjack is returning the Dwarven Smith, so we'll see what he has to offer as a reward for the escort mission. And it is our fetch quest item, the magic powder, so it looks like we might see what's on the magic bat.
As we know at this
Or
point
not.
that it's not gonna. Slumberjack doesn't have the mirror or the hammer to check Magic Bat, so doesn't have a way to check that right now.
I did
but we know.
overlook that. My apologies. It was an oversight on my part. I did not realize he did not have that magic mirror. In fact, as a note, Tabby Cat is the only one that has the magic mirror at this point.
Okay, so at this point, it looks like Slumberjack's going to have to head over to Misery Mire. We know that he needs to head over to Misery Mire to get that hammer, to kill Vitreous, and then head over to Palace of Darkness to get the flippers. That is the route these players will need to take to get into go mode with where they're at. When they get the flippers from Pod, then they're going to get the mirror to be able to access Swamp Palace.
And Slumberjack doing more of the Dark World, Light World, Overworld checks, as he is now going to be returning that purple chest. Meanwhile, Tabby Cat is taking on Blind.
Alright, me saying DJ Darkwing in go mode actually is we're in no mode. He does not have the mirror yet. I forgot he hadn't gone to the hobo yet to get that mirror for Swamp Palace access. So he's still going to be checking chests for that mirror. But knowing that he has the flippers, maybe he'll know to go and check those flipper checks and get that mirror here as soon as he finishes Palace of Darkness.
And that purple chest, all it was hiding was a small set of bombs.
Lumberjack heading back up the mountain. Not sure what checks we still have up here that he has access to. Might be checking. Has he done Hookshot Cave yet?
Yes, he has to have had done Hookshot Cave because that's where the magic shovel and the mushroom was.
Yeah, you're right. Not sure what Slumberjack's doing up here. We'll see in just a moment what he's doing up here. Knowing he's done every check.
He might be checking Turtle Rock. That might be his play.
Don't have hammer for access to it, so we can't do that. Has he done Spiral Cave?
No, he went over to the bridge accessing the Tower of Hera, but realizing he does not have the hammer, I think he realized that at the end of his route there going toward Hera does not have the hammer, so he is now in limbo trying to figure out his next play, while Darkwing is making his way into the back half of Pod.
Slumberjack thinking about what he hasn't checked yet. Probably looking over his tracker to see what he needs to do. Hopefully he realizes he needs to go to the Maya area, that he hasn't done that yet.
And he does realize that as he goes to the Mire tile wart, so he will be going into there.
Alright, we'll be getting that hammer. Still don't have the lamp yet. None of our runners have found that yet, so I'm kind of curious as to where that item is at.
Meanwhile, Tabby Cat cashing in that magic powder at the bat, and it will be the magic lamp.
That is, for one thing, a very horrible location for that magic lamp to be at.
It is indeed, but that also puts her in logic, with the exception of the hobo.
Well, I hope she's flitting to 5. She's not. She's flitting to 7. Going to turn in that purple chest. Hopefully she heads over to flute spot 5 and goes into Palace of Darkness and grabs those flippers, and then she will probably be the first one we have in go mode.
And she got very annoyed the fact that that the purple chest was just providing a earth-shattering kaboom.
And as Professor Pixie does say in chat, Tabby Cat will not be doing Palace of Darkness in the dark rooms like DJ Darkwing D is attempting to do right now. The room that he is in right now with all the 6 little small turtles can be a little difficult. You can't see anything. He doesn't have the fire rod to light up the torch or the lamp to even see.
Slumberjack having a little bit of difficulty getting that chest on the spikes, having to burn a potion for safety.
Yeah, being at 9 hearts, even these dungeons, even on red mail, can still hurt a lot, especially with those spikes. If you're getting bullied a bit by the Stalfos, they're knocking you on and off the spikes to get that chest. As Joe Fuzz is finishing up Vitreous right now, we'll be getting his first pendant of this run.
Meanwhile, Darkwing is taking on Helmasaur King. 17 hits with the magic hammer, and that mask will come off, and then we can just spam that eyeball until he destroys it.
And does get that 17th hit right as he was getting ready to shoot that fireball. Despawns the fireball. Makes the fight significantly easier there at the end. And does take down Helmasaur King to get his the green pendant. I'm going to guess he may just run down and hopefully grab the hobo and be in go mode.
One can only hope. But getting that green pendant out of pod is another fetch quest, so I don't know if he will try to turn that in to see where his logical progression is. We know it's the hobo, but we'll have to see how long it takes him to figure that out.
Alright, and Tabby Cat working her way through Palace of Darkness. Working her way over to the Mimic side, the Bowlock side. We'll be getting her flippers in the next 30 seconds, so we'll be in go mode here in the next 30 seconds or so. As DJ Darkwing D is flying down to Flute Spot 8, probably going to be checking Ice Rod Cave and then doing the flippers checks and probably grabbing his mirror here very, very shortly. As we see Slumberjack heading over to check Pyramid Ledge and maybe Catfish. Get to see what those checks are.
Apparently, Pyramid Ledge did not have anything useful. I didn't see what it was, as I was focused on Darkwing going into Ice Palace, which didn't have anything useful either.
Looked like it was just a big 20 there. And we have Tabby Cat in go mode there. Looks like just prior to the 47-minute mark, she hit go mode. So we will see her finishing up Palace Darkness, immediately heading over to Swamp Palace. We see. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Her getting the flippers does put her back in full logic. I did miss the check where those flippers were. Meanwhile, Darkwing will be picking up his magic mirror, which I believe now puts him in go mode at just 47 minutes and 40 seconds.
Alright, so our bottom 2 players are in go mode. Joe Fuzz in Palace of Darkness will be picking up that flippers here really, really soon, as we see Slumberjack doing the Catfish check, only being rewarded with 10 arrows. So, Catfish, same as Zora, just a bunch of scam fishes today. Alright, and as we see Tabcat working her way through those dark rooms with the lamp, it does make it significantly easier to finish those up. Still running on the Master Sword. Joe Fuzz and Tabcat only have the Master Sword, the other 2 having the Tempered Sword.
And Darkwing is going to be making his play for Swamp Palace.
The final dungeon of this seed. We will probably see him fly through this dungeon. We'll probably be finished in 2 minutes at most. As Tabby Cat does finish off King Helmosaur, getting her second pendant of this run, we'll be immediately probably mirroring and fluting right over to Flute Spot 4 and running right down to Swamp Palace.
That would be the smart play. I do definitely anticipate them doing that. Meanwhile, Slumberjack now dipping into pod, and he will be in go mode here in just a few moments.
Alright, Joe Fuzz grabbing that big key and heading straight to the back. I'm gonna guess more likely will work his way back to the front to do the Bowlock side to get those flippers. As we see DJ Darkwing making quick work of Swamp Palace here, skipping the chests, not worrying about them. It's going to go straight to Argus there.
Meanwhile, Tabby Cat is probably at least a good 3 to 5 minutes behind him, so it is a matter of execution between these runners at this point for the bottom two.
And we do have the Cane of Samaria, so we will be able to do the easier version of Diver Down. It's a little bit slower, but a little bit easier to pull off instead of the Bomb Strat. Bomb Strat is a little bit faster, but a little bit harder to pull off, requires a little bit better pixel movement. As we see DJ Darkwing pull out the Cane of Samaria to do the Diver Down glitch, gets it on the very first try. Grabs the hearts, ignores the chest, as we expected. He wants to get straight to the boss. He's in go mode. He wants to be done with this. As we see Joe Fuzz there on the top left, working his way through the dark maze there in Palace of Darkness. Trying to get through there, grab the couple chests. We'll eventually work his way back to the front to get the flippers. As Slumberjack is working his way through Palace of Darkness, trying to hit that crystal switch there with the Cane of Samaria. Looks like he's just going to come in through... Nope, going to go to the back. I didn't notice he hadn't done the back. He's going to do the back real quick, grab those couple chests. Still looking for that mirror.
Meanwhile, Darkwing Duck made short work of what I call the popcorn on Argus. And, well, speaking of Argus, Argus is officially dead. It is just a matter of routing to get to the pedestal, and it will be one and done for Darkwing.
Alright, I probably see a mirror and then flute to either 8 or 3. Either one works. Usually 8's a little bit faster. You take the little water portal up to next to the Lost Woods and just run to the pedestal from there to pull that pedestal for the dot done. Oh, flutes and misses the duck. And does flute to flute spot 3, so we'll see him go through the Lost Woods there on the left side there. Straight up the left wall up to the pedestal.
At this point, the routing really ain't really going to matter. He has got this one in the books, folks. We're just waiting for that dot done.
As we see Tabby Cat flying through Swamp Palace, just about finished. Only has a couple rooms left before she will be facing Argus. And then racing her way over to the pedestal for her dot done.
And your winner of this restream is going to be Darkwing tonight, and he will come in with a race time of 53 minutes 11 seconds with an overall score for second place. Scoring at overall first place with a time of 43 minutes 8 seconds will be Gamachu.
Hopefully we will get... we are actually just now joined by DJ Darkwing D. GG Darkwing.
Thank you.
GG Darkwing.
It's a fun seed.
Indeed it was. It was very nice to watch. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Had a couple of scary parts. That, man, that mire.
Yeah, Darkmire can be a little rough for a lot of players. Do you want to know where the lamp was at?
Yeah, sure.
It was on Magic Bat.
Oh yeah, there was no way I was getting that. Where was the powder?
I honestly don't remember. The only person that we're probably going to see of the 4 runners that got it is Tabby Cat. She found the powder and checked it and got the lamp from there.
Okay, Gamma says that it was the Smith. Holy crap, Gamma! Like Gamma
Yeah,
had a
Gamma.
43. I finished in second 10 minutes later.
Yeah,
Updating
yeah.
race result here, coming in overall third with a time of 55 minutes and 6 seconds will be GFE, and
Yeah, I just want to say I farmed GFE. I'm good with tonight.
we're just waiting for that dot done for the official time for Tabby Cat.
Gamachu getting first is definitely one of the top runners of this game.
And Tabby Cat clocking in overall time of 55 seconds, 55 minutes, 16 seconds for an overall 4th place finish.
Second on Restream, 4th overall. Hopefully we'll get Tabby Cat here in voice here in just a minute.
To answer your question as to where the magic powder was, Darkwing, it was on the Dwarven Smith.
Yeah, I saw GFE, or not GFE, Gamma said that in chat.
Yeah.
And that was something I probably wasn't going to be doing Smith Chain at all. So, that was going to take out Magic Bat, stuff like that. I mean, heck, you saw how long it took me. I considered actually doing the fake flipper. I probably would have finished a lot sooner. I thought about the fake flipper and going to Hobo. I had the money for Zora. Ended up just putting that off. It's like, well, I got Dark World access. Let's go see what dungeons I need to do and see if I can do any of them right now.
Yeah, and actually, as a side note, Tabby Cat actually did do the flipper, the fake flipper to get the mirror. The mirror, she was the first one to do so, but the way you routed everything, you actually pulled ahead and you stayed that way for most of the seed, all the way up until the end.
Nice.
Alright, as we see Slumberjack working his way through Swamp Palace. Is in go mode just going to be finishing these dungeons here. Jofa is just now taking on Helmasaur to get his second pendant of this run. Still needs to find that mirror for his go mode. We'll probably be getting that here really soon after finishing Helmasaur.
Oh, most definitely. And Darkwing, just as a side note here for you, you outbeat Tabby Cat by 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
Oh wow, yeah, that's not very much at all. And she's tough. Me and her in the same group in the Plando tournament. And boy, let me tell you, she knocked the snot out of me on Sunday.
You guys were basically neck and neck most of the seed, and when it came down to you being in go mode, it was merely an execution point after that, and you nailed it.
Thank you. I'm hoping she gets in here. I feel some retribution after Sunday. Just if anybody ever races against Tabby, don't let her convince you to do inverted, because it's not going to turn out well for you.
I love watching inverted races. Those are a lot of fun.
Well, when some jerk puts the book on the frickin' pedestal and you don't realize it for 2 hours.
And that could complicate things.
Oh, just a little. I don't really know inverted that well. And she pulled out some tricks on me that I just was not ready for. And she definitely deserved to win that race. Not taking anything away on that.
And you want to know what's even more fun than seeing an inverted seed?
What's that?
Inverted cross keys.
Oh my god. Okay. She tried to get me to do inverted keys at first, and I was like, no. And then in doing some practice seeds lately, some mystery for season 3, I got recently an inverted cross keys, and I couldn't. It was one of the worst things I've ever tried to do in my life.
Me personally, as a viewer, I love seeing those kind of seeds because I know they are complete torture on you runners.
All right, gonna get back to the race here real quick. We do see Joe Fuzz working his way up to get that mirror off of the hobo. He will be in go mode here in probably the next 5 or 10 seconds, and we'll immediately be heading over to Swamp Palace to get his final pendant of this race. As we see Slumberjack working his way through Swamp Palace right now. Still doesn't have any pendants. Is in go mode. Might be looking for that lamp still. May not be familiar with those dark rooms.
Yeah, speaking of those dark rooms, if you're not very familiar with them, they can be relatively tricky if you do not have that light source.
And I know in Pedestal mode, all the players prefer to have the Light World dungeons be their pendants, not the Dark World ones. Dark World ones can be kind of rough, especially if we get the Dark Room ones like we got in this one, 2 of the 3.
And an overall race update with an overall 5th place finish with 1 hour and 57 seconds is going to be Taco. And we do have a couple of DNFs from Jetters and Freddy. They will finish in the bottom 2 with DNFs.
Hey, I only had 12 bunks. All right. It looks like Tabby's not going to be coming in, so I'm going to get out of the way and let you guys do your thing. Thank you so much for the comms. Thanks to everyone hanging out in chat and watching this Speed Gaming as well for putting these on, as well as our restreamer, the trackers that we got. I know we had to have a last minute somebody come in because of a tech issue, so I'm not sure who it was, but props to you for getting in, and thank you so much for that. And thank you to everyone once again. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, and thank you for racing with us tonight. Congratulations on your 1st place finish in our restream, and we look forward to seeing you in future races.
Cool. Thank you very much. GG. Have a great night, everybody.
Have a good night, Darkwing GG. All right, as we see Joe Fuzz to get that mirror and his working his way through Swamp Palace, getting his last pendant here in a few minutes. As Slumberjack's still probably looking for that lamp, hasn't checked the magic bat yet. He's gonna be checking Bombo's tablet here, so we're gonna be getting that here in just a second.
With the red rupee from that. And while we're kind of in this little bit of a lull right now, let's go ahead and give a big shout out to all of our restreamers and trackers and commentators. Give those a big like and follow. I'm sure we will all appreciate it.
Yeah, restreamers tonight. We do have Cataclysm and I'm probably going to pronounce it around Velity. If I pronounce it around Velity, I'm sorry, but
Yes,
Cataclysm and Velity are trackers tonight.
Side note here, Velity is doing a last-minute substitution for Professor Pixie. She did have a tech issue setting up for Tracker. I will be helping her out with that sometime in the near future so that she may continue in that role. So I look forward to seeing her more and more in the community.
As we see Slumberjack checking K45, getting that gold sword, that tier 4, as everyone calls the butter sword, there in K45. Hopefully going to be working his way up to do Magic Bat here.
Doing that speed glitch, it looks like I see it coming here in the next few seconds. He's going to be in go mode.
Alright, looks like Slumberjack's going to be checking Hammer Pegs as well as that Magic Bat here in just a moment. To get that lamp so he can go and finish Palace of Darkness and Misery Mire.
And I do have another race update for you. Scoring in within time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Overall, 6th place will be Shire. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. So.
Alright, as we have Joe Fuzz taking on Argus now taking care of those little puffballs around him, takes 2 slashes with the Master Sword, or 1 spin. If you do the spin strat with this fight, we'll be taking down Argus here very, very shortly, and going and pulling that pedestal to finish the Joe Fuzz's end of this race. As we see Slumberjack getting that lamp from the Magic Bat, probably heading right over to Misery Mire to finish that one off, and Slumberjack is officially in logical go mode at 1:04:14.
Indeed he is. Got a few more race updates here for you. Min Beam clocking in overall 7th with a time of 1 hour, 3 minutes, 56 seconds. And so-called 2044 clocks in at 8th place with 1 hour, 3 minutes, 57 seconds. A mere 1 second difference between 7th and 8th place. And Data Plate coming in overall 9th with a score time of 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 59 seconds.
Alright, as Joe Fuzz does get his last pendant, is going to be fluting over probably up to flute spot 3. Going and pulling that pedestal. We will get the racetime.gg time here as soon as he pulls that pedestal.
Meanwhile, Slumberjack is dipping pod. And as Joe Fuzz makes his route up to the Grove, having a little bit of trouble there getting past that thief. So we're just mere seconds getting that official race time in. And as he pulls that pendant, he will clock in overall 10th place with a final time of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 48 seconds. And we do have a third DNF, and that comes in the form of Sandreas 316. He opted to forfeit the match, so that is our third DNF. We have 2 more overall runners before we conclude this evening's festivities.
And hopefully we will get Joe Fuzz in here for the post-race interview, get his thoughts on this seed and race today. As we see Slumberjack in the dark rooms of Palace of Darkness, coming up to the Turtle Room, the room that usually gives people the most problem without the lamp. Having the lamp will clear this out just fine this time.
And as Slumberjack makes his way through pod, I do believe this coming Sunday, we will have our reveal for the Randomizer League. And I do believe that will take place on our Speed Gaming Prime channel at noon.
That show I cannot wait for. I am a part of that tournament. Cannot wait for that one to start up in the Open League. With the team I'm on, really hoping for that invitational slot at the end of the tournament.
Indeed. Good luck to you on that tournament, Wind Fox. I hope you do well.
DJ Darkwing chat saying, "Yep, team, please clap." That is the team I'm on. Myself, Leroy, and Kaysden. Back to the race real quick. Slumberjack does take down King Helmasaur, getting that second pendant of the race, the green pendant. We'll be heading over to Misery Mire to take care of Vitreous. Does have the cape and the gold sword. This should be a fairly simple fight. Much easier than what Tabby Cat and Joe Fuzz dealt with the Master Sword. And we are joined by Tabby Cat here in chat. GG's Tabby Cat.
And I never got an invite or anything, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, your buddy there, Darkwing, he was kind of hoping that you would pop in before he dipped out. I think he was for some bragging rights after this past week's race that you guys were involved in.
Well, that's the joke I was trying to make, and I didn't realize until after I made the joke that saying Mothula wasn't required is a spoiler, but I was like, the joke was that if Mothula was required, I totally would have beat him. Especially if Hammer was there. because that was literally the turning point of our race over the weekend. So was that I did the 3-heart Mothula and got my hammer that I placed there, and I like inverted, and I'm good at inverted. So
Yeah, he did mention that you guys had some rather interesting fun with that inverted seed, and I believe he mentioned something about the pedestal trolling you guys with the book.
yeah, it was a double paradoxy. The book was on pedestal, and the shovel was in big game. So yeah, it was a pretty fun seed though. Well, I liked it until the hook shot, and that's whenever I was glad I was on Planet Zero and not on any kind of main channel, because that's when the profanity just started streaming. Because you put my book on pedestal, which is like the last thing I'm gonna get, and then you put my hook shot on ether tablet. I'm like,
Yeah, I know that was frustrating. Speaking of this race in particular, what was your most difficult point?
finding flippers. When I found I found everything else, and I was like, okay, where can these flippers be? Okay, so hammer wasn't out of logic at all. So I'm like, well, it could be in Thieves Town Big Chest. We're gonna go there first because that likes to troll people. I'm like, well, it could be on bat. Okay, and then when I found the lamp, I'm like, I'm just gonna go to pod. So it really was just dipping Thieves Town was the one thing I shouldn't have done, as of what I felt like at least.
Enough, every single one of you actually did do the full dip of Thieves Town, with the exception of Darkwing.
If I hadn't done that, I would have finished a solid like 3 minutes ahead. So
Interesting to point out, I did point this out to Darkwing. Between your guys' dot duns, there was only let me see if I can't find it again. 2 minutes and 5 seconds between the two of you finishing.
that was Thieves Town.
All right, hate to interrupt, but Slumberjack does take down Vitreous, does use the cape strat with that gold sword there. His third pendant of the race will be racing up and getting, pulling his pedestal for his dot done. And we are also joined by Joe Fuzz, our third place finisher here on the restream. GG, Joe.
GG, Joe.
Thanks. GG's, everybody.
What were your overall thoughts of this seed?
It wasn't too bad. I think for me personally, I think it was a little bit of nerves that hit me a couple times. I got a little tilted, like about where to go next. But for the most part, it felt like everything was mostly logically laid out so that you didn't have to go too far.
Yeah, that was one of the good things that we noticed about the seed. It was pretty. It kind of showed you where to go, but there were also a couple things that it could have thrown you on a completely different track. Looks like for the most part, everyone avoided the distractions that it tried to throw at you.
Noting here, the Slumberjack actually pulling Ped, clocking in overall 11th place with a time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 25 seconds. We still actually have one more runner who will clock in officially at 12th place. I should have the time info for you as soon as that player clocks in.
I'm gonna pop off here and GG's, guys. It was fun.
Glad to have you with us today. GG's, Tabby Cat. We look forward to seeing you in the future.
GG, Tabby Cat.
GG, Joe. Maybe I'll wait for a second and say GG to Slumber too. GG, Slumber.
GG's.
All right, we are joined by Slumberjack. GG, Slumberjack.
Yeah, GG, Slumberjack.
So what was your overall thoughts of this seed there, Slumberjack? Is there anything that really kind of tripped you up a bit there?
This was my first ever PED seed, so there's a lot of thoughts to go behind this. I was basically improvising the entire time.
Well, that's kind of what random is for everybody. We spend the whole time improvising, trying to figure out what we're going to do next. Looks like you did a really, really great job. Head seeds are usually really fast, which is a great thing for everybody. Great seeds for everyone, especially if they're still learning, the newer players. Yeah, everyone did great. Was there any one thing in particular that you enjoyed about doing your first ped seed?
Not. I don't think there's any one thing. It was just like a new experience for me, so I enjoyed doing that. And this is also my first ever doing a daily race, so that was kind of cool to do as well. So, but for the seed itself, I don't know. Hammer was a pain. Other than that.
Yeah, that hammer location there in Meyer on the bridge chest, that was a horrible location. When Tabby Cat found that the first time, it was kind of surprising to find it there. We were kind of discussing maybe it was going to be an AGA 1 seed to get over to the pod area. Luckily, that didn't happen.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that too. If I did not find Hammer in Meyer, I was actually going to do AGA.
Yeah, I think
that was a very fortunate find for you so that you didn't have to make that unnecessary climb. Other than the troubles with the hammer, what was your most difficult part of this seed?
Just keeping track of what I was doing. I think you guys, everyone was watching, so like there's a couple times where I just paused and was like, what have I not done yet? And what have I not done that I don't want to do? Those were the most difficult parts for me. It was just like keeping track of what I was doing, I guess.
What were your thoughts when you did that one dip up Death Mountain and got to that bridge and realized you did not have that hammer?
Oh, yeah. There were a couple goofs like that, and I think a lot of that was just a little bit of anxiety, being on the restream and just being like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna go up the mountain, I'm gonna do this, and then going, oh no, I can't do this. And I think I do that in a couple of my ladder races here and there, but that was a little like, oops, well, everybody just saw that happen.
Well, I
Not
can
a big
tell you
deal,
from
though.
experience, it happens to everybody at least once, whether it's on stream or you just racing anybody. You do it at least once, you never do it again. So, all those
Well, I'll
little...
do it again. I'm sure. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, they do say never. Anything is possible, especially with this kind of game.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I'm gonna check out. Whoever's watching the stream, enjoy whatever's left, and have a good one. Okay.
Thank you for being with us this day, and we enjoyed having you, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
All right.
Great game. Bye.
GG's.
yep, GG.
All right, GG Joe Fuzz. I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah, I do believe we will, because that is the end of our restream here. We will not get to see the overall time of that last place finisher because it hasn't clocked in yet. Make sure we get a shout out to all of our racers, Slumberjack Joe Fuzz, Tabby Cat, DJ Darkwing D, our trackers for this evening, Cataclysm and Velody, with a last minute sub for Professor Pixie, who had tech issues. And of course, for my co-commentator this evening, WinFox470. And be sure to tune in to the Speed Gaming Prime channel this Sunday at noon for the Legend of Zelda Link to the Past Randomizer League Reveal. And that will take place at noon here on Twitch. If my co-commentator has nothing else, make sure you guys take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you again soon. Good night.
Also, don't forget to follow Jeff DeRef here, my co-com, did an amazing job. But yeah, that's going to do it for us here. Everyone have a great night. GG's to all the runners.
Indeed,
We'll see
GG good
y'all.
runners, and well, have a good night.